Yeah, Republicans have been registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. I think it's a 5-point. They've expanded their lead from 5 points from where it was back in 2020. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina? Big Republican registration gains. How about Pennsylvania? We spoke about it before a few months ago. Big Republican Party registration gains versus from where they were 4 years ago. So Republicans are putting more Republicans in the electorate. The Democratic number versus the Republican number has shrunk. And so the bottom line is, if Republicans win come next week, Donald Trump comes next week, the signs all along will have been obvious. We would look at the right direction being very low, Joe Biden's approval rating being very low, and Republicans really registering numbers. You can't say you weren't warned.
Early voting, of course, has begun, and it's looking really, really good for Republicans. We are up on party identification. We are up on Republican registration. And, of course, the turnout has been massive, really outperforming what happened in 2022, 2020, 2016. More Republicans are coming out to vote early now than ever have before, right? Traditionally, Republicans have always come out to vote on Election Day. But now, of course, considering past shenanigans that have happened on Election Day in certain counties and states, it's time for them to come out and say, you know what, we're going to vote early and get this taken care of. And the numbers, of course, are astounding. However, this video is not about the numbers. This video is about Joe Biden making a huge gaffe and people actually coming out and saying, you know what? He needs to double down on that gaffe, as we're going to see here from Charlamagne Tha God. All right. So before we get to the clips, please like and comment so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
So President Biden, he's going viral after responding to Tony Hinchcliffe's joke about Puerto Rico being a, quote, floating island of garbage. Let's jump right into the audio and hear from Biden.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. You know, he says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. Give me a break. He wants to do away with the birthright citizenship. Who the hell has said that in the last 100 years? Donald Trump has no character. He doesn't give a damn about the Latino community. He's failed businessman. He only cares about the billionaire friends he has and accumulating wealth for those at the top.
Yeah, so President Biden made those comments during a campaign call yesterday but added that, you know, of course, the Puerto Rican people are good, decent, honorable people.
Well, I don't understand why he's walking that back, because, I mean, based off the examples he gave, like if you are a person who supports those examples that he gave, you are garbage.
Yeah, I think that he walked it back because of the, number one, the backlash that he got, and then number
backlash
two,
for what though?
Because people keep pointing to in 2016 when Hillary made like certain comments about Trump supporters, they try to say that also was a part of the reason why she didn't win. So
maybe I got to hear it again. I thought he was being very specific. I thought he was talking about people who agree with, Tony.
That's what he meant, but he didn't get there specifically. He was trying to, like, it was a little, not nuanced, but like any gray area with Biden, they're going to try and grab it. And
everything
that's what they did.
Everything with Biden is gray area. He's 97 years old. Everything is gray about Biden.
And I guess right now, you know, everybody's so focused on the undecideds. They don't want undecideds to feel like,
people gonna feel what they feel. Like the gentleman that called earlier that was like, no, he didn't mean it as a diss. He was just saying that they do landfills. It's just like, come on, like, are you serious?
By the way, there's no undecideds at this point. Like that's just. I mean, there might be a few, but you know, majority of people know who they gonna vote for, and I think we pretty much know who Biden was talking about.
We do.
I thought he was being specific, and he said people who support Donald Trump saying that immigrants poison the blood of America. I thought he was being very specific.
I always find it interesting that people can hear the exact same thing and yet have a completely different interpretation. Okay, so clearly Joe Biden said, yes, Donald Trump supporters are garbage. But what is Charlamagne here? Oh, he's talking about Trump's actual supporters who are saying horrible things about other people. So clearly they're garbage. Okay, so in other words, Charlamagne's trying to spin it. He's trying to make it sound not as bad as it actually was. Not that I particularly care, because I know how Joe Biden feels about Donald Trump and all of his supporters. And I know what he said is exactly what he meant, because his dementia doesn't really allow him to lie anymore. Okay. But of course, the big problem is the Hillary Clinton deplorable moment, right? There's a whole bunch of people out there who may be on the fence about Donald Trump, or maybe saying, you know what, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump because I like his economic policies more. And now you have the opposition coming out and saying, you know what, you're garbage if you vote for Donald Trump. Okay. That is the big difference. You don't want to insult the very people you're trying to entice to vote for you. And that is exactly what Joe Biden has done. However, Charlamagne is not the only person basically saying, you know what, we got to double down on this, Joe Biden.
I'm of the mindset that if you say it, you might as well just embrace it. And I do think that that's a problem for Democrats.
We're going to ask our strategist over here in a second.
Shocking, that I would say that. No, but realistically, like, I do think if he said, listen, yeah, I do mean all those racist supporters of Donald Trump. Yeah, I do think that they're terrible. I think that people would look at the Democratic Party a little bit different. I think, look, I do think that the Democratic Party in general doesn't look like they are strong enough, and they will always back off of things. And I think that when Joe Biden backs off of saying what he really believes, I don't think that's a good look.
This, of course, is the problem with the mainstream media. They actually believe that most of Donald Trump's base is, in fact, racist, right? The only reason you could possibly support him is because you hate those darn Mexicans or the Muslims or whatever the case may be, okay? When, in fact, we actually like Donald Trump because of his economic policy, his promise to stop mass illegal immigration, his promise to stop wasting our tax dollars on people that are not American or fights that are not American. That is why we like Donald Trump. But of course, you have this moron who says, go ahead and lean into it at this point, right? Because who's it gonna hurt? Just those racist Donald Trump supporters, okay? But this whole thing is basically a non-issue. Nobody cares about the joke that was made at the Madison Square Garden rally, okay? Even Jon Stewart has come out and said, you know what? It's not a big deal.
The opening act, grabbing headlines for all the wrong reasons, a comedian who offered unfunny, racist, cringeworthy jokes.
Basically calling Puerto Ricans trash.
The most repulsive racial jokes about Latinos.
Disgusting and hateful.
So incredibly crude.
Frankly, just too X-rated to play here.
Extremely vile so-called jokes.
Extremely vile so-called jokes. She name-checked my comedy album from the 90s. Did I really? I don't know who's AI, me or that guy. Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair, the guy's really just doing what he does. I mean, here he is at the Tom Brady roast a few months ago.
The great Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Gronk, you look like the Nazi that kept burning himself on the ovens. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting.
Yes, of course. Terrible, boo, yes. There's something wrong with me. I find that guy very funny. So, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, bringing him to a rally and have him not do roast jokes, that'd be like bringing Beyonce to a rally and not have... Oh.
So, of course, Jon Stewart can be incredibly funny when he wants to be, but of course he's chosen to go down the aisle of partisan politics. However, he hits it right on the head here. This guy is telling jokes, and he's actually really good at what he does, and that is roasting people. And he tried that out at the Donald Trump rally, and it might not have been the place for it, but that's just all he does, okay? So it's no big deal, and no one really cares about this, especially after Joe Biden made his remarks. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.